Hey, good afternoon. This is Neil with Simple Futures, and today is Wednesday Hump Day. It is February the 15th. We did not exactly get a high for the week today. It looks like the high for the week was actually yesterday, 4170 in the ES, 4160 or so today. And really boring, honestly. Inside range day today. The expected move on the day to start was about plus or minus 32, and that's what it did. It started down here 41.30 and it traded up to 41.60, so it's plus or minus like 30 something too, maybe nothing really. It does show us though, I believe, that the 41.30 level is the real, just really main kind of over under for right here right now this week. It was last week's balance, and it's the real pivotal point here today. In fact, it's what, here is an example, it's what we used as over-under for today. It was also the overnight session from last night's mid and VWAP, and it was kind of over-under for today, which served pretty well as it traded up into these targets. So look, long story short is this. There's nothing much new really to add about this. I think that the market is still kind of glued to or stuck in this area until we get to this expiration, then free to roam. But until then, we have tomorrow the PPI in the morning and Philly Fed. And so, knowing that, here's what I want to watch. Here's what I've got on my mind and what I want to watch. Let's go look at the dollar. Look at the dollar. All right, pretty good high up there. Obviously, this thing's come in significantly since the 115 high-ish, 115-ish high. The dollar index come back, put in a low here at, by the way, we have a voodoo fire line right there at 101, and so not surprising that it did, bounce. And when it did, I snapped fibs on this to give these levels. The 236 is right here at the mark where it is, this 104, but honestly, it really doesn't look like it's done there, and this is important. Because see, you got a squeeze down here, fire long. And so what we would look for is that average continuation on that's 8 to 10 bars. This is a daily chart, so that's 8 to 10. In this instance, that would be days. When you get one that fires on a weekly, then it's 8 to 10 weeks, that kind of thing. And look at where the next levels are. The 106 is higher, and that's up at the 200 period moving average, which is a 382 retrace. And then just above that, there is another fib one of these voodoo levels up there. It's the second most important voodoo level, and it's a tree line up there. So the first most important, the fire line, was down here at the low where it bounced. The second most important is up here at 10, almost 8, so call it 10 kind of 8, which is a half back on this fib also. So that would mean that we've got a trend move down off the highs. We're getting a retracement right now. How high is the question? Before then, you would anticipate that, of course, it would roll and start to make new lows afterward. But right now, it's not that. Right now is the bounce. So as long as this thing is bouncing, and the higher it goes, the more pressure it is going to put on the equity complex and other things too, by the way, such as gold and in all U.S. dollar denominated assets. It essentially kind of is going to some degree go inverse the uptick in the dollar index valuation, right? So this is kind of a big deal. This thing does continue. If it does, and that's what I'm looking here, at least up to this 106 mark, really honestly, maybe even through that to the 107s, because that's what is the next voodoo level up there, tree line. Then if it's doing that, then we're going to see pressure on the stocks. Okay, so that takes us back to where we were just a minute ago, and we say, let's see, go back to ES here. That says, okay, over under right here, 41.30. It's a little higher than that right now. Tomorrow very well could be the day that this thing, starts to come in. If so, look for it to not much, because it's only plus or minus about another 32 on the options chain for expected move tomorrow, so not a big deal. But if it does start to come in, then that settles it back down into the quote middle, I guess, if you will, for the opportunity to really start the move either right at or just after this expiration. And so that is the main takeaway here. So the deal is basically nothing much new. This is another way of looking at the same kind of thing we've already discussed earlier this week. It's another perspective, and that is looking at the dollar index. Keep an eye on that. Very important. And that, if we're right on that, would help to be one of the pieces that we then add to this puzzle in helping us determine, what we want to do with these S&Ps next. For me personally, I'm looking to get some short exposure on in the S&Ps for a few weeks to follow this expiration. We'll see if that's right, but that's what I'm doing. So I'm looking forward to hold up for now until we get into this expiration. We get just on the heels of it, and it's time to really pay attention. And by that, everybody's going to do what they choose to do. Me, I'm going to try to be short. So that's the update. Hope it helps. Good trading. Nice evening. Let me know what you think in the comments. We've been getting some good input and some help, frankly, in the comments. I mean, thanks again to the heads up on that tremendous open interest at the 4,000 strike for this expiration. Personally, I took action on that. I put some put flies down there in the SPX in the event that it does, come in and settle back down near that 4,000 mark. That'll make for a really nice trade. I don't know if it'll work or not, but the risk is really small on those flies, and so it makes for an opportunity. Good stuff. I'll check you again here at the next update. Good trading.
Without simpler trading, I could not have financial independence.
This is one of the best investments I ever made in my life.
It's helping me find consistency. It's one of the things that won me